Hello guys, and welcome back to a new GEAR CONVO episode, and today I'm here to answer your questions once again. Today I have 4 beautiful questions sent by you, and I'm so much excited to answer these questions. So without wasting much time, let's get into today's questions. Alright, so guys, let's get into today's questions. Why does my audio sound echoey? Now, this is a very common issue you kind of see in beginners videos or videos that are being made by beginners or people who are just starting out. Now, how does this come about? Now, this happens when you record in a place that has a lot of echo. Now, how can you identify that this particular space that you're recording in has echo? Now, one of the key things that I normally do when probably I move into a new space and I'm supposed to record, or we are doing an interview and I just got in a place and I haven't recorded in a place before, one of the things that I normally do is I kind of clap and I listen to the sound. Now, when you clap and you listen to the sound and the place has echo, you can kind of feel that in the reverb. You can kind of feel the reverb in the space. Now, what are some of the things that you could do to avoid that? Now, for me, one of the things that you can do to avoid or to take away echoes in your audio is that recording a space that normally has maybe clothes, curtains, beds, or maybe the place is acoustically treated. That means the place has acoustic treatment. Now, that is one of the reasons why you normally see people who start YouTube videos normally start recording in their bedroom. Now, this is not something that they normally do for fun, but they normally record in their bedroom because of sound. That is one of the key reasons why a lot of people like to record in their bedrooms. Now, when you record in your bedroom, one thing that you find in the bedroom is you find a bed, you find curtains, you might probably find maybe a carpet, and there are going to be clothes also in the bedroom. So when you record in that bedroom, these things that I've mentioned kind of absorbs the sound, and it prevents the sound from hitting the walls or any reflective surfaces and returning that sound back to the mic, and that is what sometimes creates these echoes in your sound. So if you are starting out, and let's say for instance you want to record a very clean audio without echo, one of the places you should look at is recording in your bedroom. Now, if you have the money and you can afford, kind of treating your room or treating the room that you are recording in, you can get in acoustic treatment and treat in the room so that you can avoid that kind of reverb. Also, you can get a rag. And I think one of the key things that normally filmmakers do on set, because in set you can't go and treat the room that you are recording in. So one of the things that filmmakers do, or one of the things that we can do to avoid echoes in our sound on set, and where we don't have beds or curtains or there's no way we can bring in those elements, one of the things you can use is sound blankets. Now, you can get sound blankets, put them on C-stands, rig them on C-stands, put it beside whoever is speaking, and that is going to solve that problem. So these are some of the things that you can do to avoid echoes in your sound. Now, the next question is, how do pros avoid camera shutdown? Now, this is something that I've done so many videos on in past episodes. You can go back and watch, but I'm going to give you a simple one in this particular episode, and you can go back to check other episodes to get an in-depth, review on this particular problem. Now, how do pros normally avoid shutdowns in their camera? How do pros normally avoid their camera shutting down on them mid-takes? Now, one of the key things that you can do to avoid your camera shutting down is you need to know the limit of your camera. Now, know the limit of the camera in the sense that what time does it take for the camera to overheat? Does the camera overheat? What time does it take for the card in the camera to be filled up? What time does it take for the battery to run out? These are some of the things that you should know, and these are some of the things that you should keep note of when you are using a camera. So know the limits of the camera, and you can avoid the camera shutting down on you mid-take. Now, the third question is, why does my background not look blurry? Now, these are some of the problems that you normally see beginners having a lot. Now, if I say I'm going to talk about getting a blurry background and I want to go full on, I'm going to talk for like more than an hour and we will still not be done. But let me show you some of the key things that you should take notice of if you want to get a blurry background. Now, one of the key things that you should take note of is, first of all, the position of your subject, the position of your camera, and the position of your background. Now, these are the three things that, you know, kind of come together to get a blurry background. Now, when your subject is very close to the background and your camera is also very close to your subject, it's going to be very, very difficult to get a blurry background. So look at the position at which you, the subject, is, your background, and your camera. So always make sure that there's a bit of distance between you and the background and a bit of distance between you and the camera. Now, second thing that you should take notice of is the f-stop of the lens you are using. Identify how wide the lens can open, how wide the aperture can open. When your aperture does not open so wide, it doesn't introduce blurry background. When you have a lens that can go very fast, let's say for instance, you have a lens that can shoot in 2.8, you know, f2.8, f1.8, f1.0, all these things can also help to get a blurry background. So make sure you have a lens that is capable of, you know, shooting at wide aperture, and make sure you are always shooting at the widest aperture your lens can shoot. Now, the third thing that you can have that can also give you blurry background is the focal length. Now, the higher you go in focal length, the blurry the background become. So I can use a lens, let's say for instance, that is f12, and if the focal length is like 400 mm, I can still use it and get blurry background, you know. So these are some of the things that you should consider. The first thing is the positioning of your camera, of the subject, and the background. The third thing is how wide does your lens open? How wide does the lens open? And the third thing would be a focal length of the lens that you are using. Now, the final question is, should beginners shoot in log? Now, a simple answer is no. If you are just starting out, avoid log. Avoid shooting in log if you are just starting out, because shooting in log comes with so many things that you need to understand. And being a beginner, there are even certain things that you don't even understand about camera, like the basic things about camera. So for me, I would say, first of all, understand the basic elements of camera, understand how images work, understand color grading, understand all these things before you start getting into log shooting. And also, what I would advise for beginners to do is spend more time shooting in log and color grading them, transforming them into Rec 709 and color grading them. Spend time practicing that before you actually start shooting in log. So if you are starting out and maybe you've played around with standard, neutral, and all these other picture profiles, and now you want to move into the log profiles, start practicing, get to understand the base ISO of the camera and all that, and start practicing with the log footage before you actually start shooting professionally in log, or you start doing anything professionally in log. So guys, these are my takes on these beautiful questions. Thanks so much for sending these questions, and I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Let's go.